Jackson, gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
As we all know, Mr. Speaker, last week was the March for Life here in Washington. Now, as a father of 10, life is a big issue at my house. It's a big issue in other homes and businesses throughout the United States. Thousands of Americans, including some residents of my district, traveled from all corners of the country last week to express their support for the right for life for each human being, to express the desire and passion they have for the born and the unborn. Just a couple of days later, on Sunday morning, once we had all returned to Illinois, my family and I headed off to church as we normally do. We sat in the pew and listened to the priest's homily, and he read us a letter written by the Bishop of the Diocese of Peoria. And it goes like this. In the history of the United States, Friday, January the 20th, 2012, will certainly stand out as a moment of enormous peril for religious liberty. The letter reads, referring to the date the Department of Health and Human Services announced that religious organizations will be forced to provide employees with insurance programs that provide abortifacients, contraceptive services, and sterilization. The letter continues, if these regulations are put into effect, they could close down every Catholic school, hospital, and other public ministry of our church, which is perhaps their underlying intention. What is perfectly clear is that this is a bigoted and blatant attack on the First Amendment rights of every Catholic believer. Under no circumstances, however, will our church ever abandon our unshakable commitment to the gospel of life. Mr. Speaker, I later learned that this was one of more than 120 letters that bishops had read from the pulpit at masses across the United States. The letter written by Bishop of Marquette reads, the federal government, which claims to be of, by, and for the people, has just dealt a heavy blow to almost a quarter of those people, the Catholic population, and to the millions more who are served by the Catholic faithful. It later says, our parents and grandparents did not come to these shores to help build America's cities and towns, its infrastructure and institutions, its enterprise and culture, only to have the prosperity stripped of their God-given rights. Mr. Speaker, like many of my Catholic brothers and sisters, I do not believe it is the government's business to target religion and require that its believers violate their conscience and their religious beliefs or suffer the consequences. I do not believe it is the role of government to persecute religions. I am proudly and passionately pro-life, Mr. Speaker, but regardless of what your views may be on abortion or contraceptive, I'd imagine most Americans would be alarmed to learn of our government chipping away at the First Amendment, mandating its citizens disregard their liberty, convictions, and conscience, or else. This is totally unacceptable. No government should force its citizens to violate their religious beliefs. I recently joined with a number of my colleagues in urging that the administration reconsider this unprecedented government overreach and violation. But I would go further and encourage the administration to abandon this rule and continue to allow these Americans who oppose these services for either moral or religious reasons to their lives and get out of the way and let them do what their religion allows them without the fear of punishment. Bishop Janke of the Diocese of Peoria concludes his letter by saying, this country once fought a revolution to guarantee the freedom, but the time has clearly arrived to strongly reassert our fundamental human rights. Our religious freedoms are under attack. I was sent here to uphold, protect, and defend the United States Constitution, and I intend to do so. I yield back my time.
Gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes